Hey everybody, welcome back to Whiteboard Finance. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the potential 50-year fixed rate mortgage. This was a tweet by Pulte, a huge home builder, and by President Trump proposing this idea. And there was a lot of backlash online about this. So in this video, we're going to take a little bit of the sensationalism out of it. We're going to go straight numbers, and then we're going to see if you invested the difference, what that would mean over the long term. And then there's going to be a lot of memes at the end of this video. So make sure you stay tuned for that. So what is the tweet that took the internet by storm? So this was a couple days ago. So thanks to President Trump, we are indeed working on the 50-year mortgage, a complete game changer, as you can see this right here. So this is what Trump posted on Truth Social on November 8th, and he said, President Roosevelt, 30-year mortgage. President Trump, 50-year mortgage. Okay, so if you dig into this a little bit deeper, you can go, there's a lot of articles talking about this, and they do different basically scenarios with different interest rates and stuff. So what I want to do is I want to actually break all of this down with real numbers and real data, and then we'll compare the two loans and the two time frames, and we'll see what the difference is if you invested the difference, which, you know, hint, hint, most people don't do, right? They're going to take the difference and they're going to go on vacation. They're going to take the difference and buy a new truck, right? So first we need to figure out, what are houses selling for right now? So at the time of this recording, the median sale price of homes for Q2 2025, that is the last data that we have from July 24th, 2025 from the Federal Reserve. Next release date is actually coming out November 26th, so in a couple weeks here. But at the time of this recording, it is $410,800. Now, if we look at the 30-year fixed rate mortgage, what is the average right now at the time of this recording as of November 6th? It is 6.22%. So if we want to actually do this with good faith, how about we just take a loan amount of $400,000? And yes, people do put money down. I understand that. But you also have to realize a lot of people pay a lot more money than $400,000 for a house too. So we'll use an interest rate of 6% for both loans, even though you're going to say, hey, Marko, a 50-year mortgage is going to be inherently, quote unquote, more risky to the lender. They should be getting a higher interest rate or a higher rate of return on that product, right? Yes, but for the sake of this video, let's just keep it 6% so we can see across the board, apples to apples, if you will. So the first loan is going to be for $400,000, 6% interest rate over the course of 30 years. The second one, I'm changing to 50 years. So let's see what happens to this math. I'm going to hit calculate, and we're going to see what happens. So loan one, our monthly payment is going to be almost $2,400 a month. Remember, this is your 30-year fixed rate mortgage payment at 6% per year. The second one, the 50-year mortgage, is going to be $2,105. That's almost a $300 a month savings, okay? It's like $290 something. So over the course of this loan, with the loan plus the total interest, your total payments are going to be in the neighborhood of $863,000 by the end of year 30, or month, 360, if you want to call it that. If you look at the 50-year mortgage, that's so funny to say, sad to say, but it is what it is. You're going to pay a total interest of $863,000 over the course of this loan, and you're going to pay about $1.26 million for a, let's call it a, $400,000 or $500,000 house, or a house with a $400,000 loan. Now, this is what a lot of people don't realize when they look at this stuff. There's something called an amortization schedule, okay? This is basically showing you what happens to your balance over time. That's the black line, okay? If you look at the principal, that's the dark blue, this is a payment. This one bar is a payment, and this dark blue is showing how much is actually going to the balance of the loan, the principal of the loan. And the light blue is showing you how much you are paying in interest. So the way these are designed, especially with mortgages, is that a majority is going to go towards the light blue part, which is interest, and a minority is going to go towards the principal, the actual amount that you owe. So this is the amortization schedule for the 30-year fixed rate mortgage at 6%. If these bars don't do justice for you, here's line items, but I'll try and keep both in the screenshot here so you can see. So if I hover over year one, let's go to 2026, because this starts at basically in October of 25, so I want to get a full year here. So in 2026, your balance on your loan remaining is going to be $394,240. The principal that you've paid is almost $5,000 over the course of the year. The interest that you've paid is almost $24,000. You can see that here, right? So if you think that's bad, let's take the calculator here and let's see what actual percentage is going towards principal. So if we take $4,961 divided by the total paid, 28,778, that gives you about 17.2% going towards the actual principal. So just like any other loan, this improves over time. And then once you get towards the end, you're going to see here that a majority of your payments are going to be going towards principal and the minority are going to interest. Now, if I go to loan 2, let's take a look at how these amortization bars look a little bit different. Okay. So this is insane. So now if you look at this one in year 1, your remaining balance is still close to $400,000, okay? You're at $398,472 in balance remaining. After year 1, okay, remember, 12 months of paying this thing off, $1,300 went towards the principal of your mortgage and $24,000 went towards your interest, okay? So $2,000 a month out of your payment is going just towards interest, okay? That's not touching the principal of what you owe. Okay, you have to understand that. Now, let's do some quick math here. If I pull up the calculator again, you can see for year 2026, we have $1,315 divided by a total of $25,267. That 5% of your payment is going towards the actual pay down of principal, okay? So that's pretty interesting. So that's just to show you how these amortization schedules work. You can see here that in 2075, your house is finally paid off, okay? But then guess what? You have property taxes that never go away. So you're still renting. Congratulations. You will own nothing and be happy. And then your kids can inherit your $30,000 a year property tax property. Okay, preventing you from transferring any meaningful wealth in your entire family tree's history. But before we get into what this investment returned over 50 years, adjusted for inflation, let's get into today's sponsor, Homeland Uranium. While everyone's chasing AI stocks and Bitcoin, there's one commodity that's quietly setting up for a massive run, and that is uranium. Prices are up 141% in just 4 years, and now demand's about to explode again, not from governments, but from AI data centers that are literally overwhelming our energy's grid. Here's what most investors don't realize. 98% of America's uranium is imported mostly from countries that we don't exactly get along with. Russia has already banned exports and China's hoarding supply. That's why the U.S. government under Trump's new national energy emergency is pushing to rebuild domestic nuclear power from the ground up. And that's where a company called Homeland Uranium comes in. Homeland just secured a 35 million pound uranium deposit in Colorado, discovered back in 1979 and forgotten for decades. They locked it down for 15 cents a pound. Today, uranium trades near $80. That's like buying Bitcoin at under $100. And with big tech now turning into nuclear power to fuel AI, companies like Microsoft, Oracle, and Google could be one of the most asymmetric energy plays of the decade. So while everyone's distracted by the latest meme stock or ETF, the smart money is quietly moving into uranium, and Homeland sits right at the intersection of AI, energy security, and U.S. policy. I'll drop a link below if you want to learn more about Homeland Uranium, ticker HLUCF, on the OTC and HLU and on the TSX. Stay smart, stay diversified, and I'll see you in the next one. So now, with all that being said, why don't we take this to another step, okay? So you say, hey, Marco, we have a difference there. If I go back, I'll get you the exact number. Let me pull up this 2398.2 minus 2105.62. This is the difference in payment between the two mortgages. It's $292.58. Just enough for you to finance that Toyota RAV4 over 10 years. Oh man, this is funny. So anyway, $292. So let's play a little game here. Let's say this is an investment calculator over 50 years with a rate of return of, let's say, 7 is a little bit too conservative. Historically, S&P 500 has basically been around 9 to 11%, right around 10.7 actually from a lot of sources. Just because we've been on, a great bull run. Let's just go with 7.5%. Let's go a little bit conservative, okay? Or we can go 8 if you guys aren't happy with 7.5. Let's do 8. Now our initial investment is $0. Additional investment, let's say $292 per month. Let's say we have the discipline to be able to invest that difference over 50 years for every single month of our lives, right? With an expected inflation rate of 3%, tax rate, whatever. Let's just say 25%. Not that that really matters. It depends on if you're in a account or a tax advantage account, but whatever. We'll say we're in a 25% tax rate. Or let's just do zero. Let's just do zero because people may argue, oh, this isn't a Roth or something. I don't know. So anyway, let's take a look at show values after inflation. But before I click that, let's see what we would have after 50 years. So after 50 years at 8% with $292 invested per month, you can see here that we would have a nominal, meaning just the number, rate of return of basically $2.1 million after 50 years. And you can see that here. Compound interest is 1.5 million, or excuse me, 2.1 million is what I meant to say. If you went simple interest, it'd be $500,000. And if you went with the invested capital, basically that 292 times 50 years, you're investing 175 grand over 50 years. However, $1 today is not going to be worth the same as $1 50 years from now. You're going to be able to purchase many more goods and services in year 1 or year 0 than you will in year 50. Okay, 50 years from now, a Honda Accord is going to cost $100,000, literally. Okay, I'm not exaggerating when I say that. So if you check the box for inflation, your investment return is realistically almost $500,000 after 50 years, assuming a 3% expected inflation rate. Some may argue, hey, Marko, groceries are up 100%. What are you talking about, 3%, right? Well, historically, it's been close to that. So we're just going to use that, okay? So basically, you're making 500 grand after 50 years by investing this $292 per month, minus your invested capital of $40,000 after inflation, okay? Does that make sense? So basically 430 grand or so. So with all that being said, does it make sense to do this? Okay. So if we pull up our handy Chat GPT, let's give it a scenario here. I'm buying 2 houses. They're going to cost me $400,000 for a loan. Both have a fixed rate of 6%. However, one house is a 30-year mortgage. The other house is a 50-year mortgage. What is the difference between the two? That's probably the worst prompt of all time, but I'm doing this on the fly. So let's ask ChatGPT. Let's see what it comes back at. Okay, so the monthly payments are similar. The 50-year is a little bit different than what we had in our example. It's coming in just a little bit under that $2,100, but you get the picture. So basically, over 50 years, you're going to pay $391,000 more in total, nearly double the original loan value. However, if we adjust this for 3% annual inflation, it's going to be about $145,000 in today's money. The rest is inflated away, okay? So again, even if you're coughing up, let's call it, 145 grand in today's money, remember that if we go back to this, even after adjusted for inflation by 3%, you're still going to be netting about 478 minus your invested capital minus the difference in the 2 loans. But there's so many variables, you guys. That's just the math. The reason I made this video is because A, do you want to stay in a property for 50 years? B, you're probably going to refinance at some point if rates go lower. C, I don't know how you guys are starting to feel about the religious or spiritual aspect of finance, but a lot of people are saying usury is a sin, okay? If you guys don't know what usury is, basically it's money making money from itself, okay? Rent-seeking behavior. And also, I joked about this earlier. It's almost like you will own nothing and be happy, okay? Because not only, let's say you do lock yourself into this 50-year mortgage, right? Let's say you have every intention of staying in this house for 50 years. God willing, you're happy, healthy, your children are healthy, whatever. Let's pretend 50 years goes by and you finally pay this thing off. Guess what happens at the end of the 50 years? You're probably going to have property taxes, okay? And if you don't have property taxes, I know a lot of states are trying to get rid of it, you're going to be paying for it in many other ways. Registering your car is going to be more expensive. Healthcare, insurance, whatever. It's going to be made up in some way outside of property taxes. So at the end of the day, do you even own this thing? Okay, my house is paid off. I pay 10 grand a year in property taxes and a paid off house. It's insane. So this to me is just another form of kicking the can down the road, not only personally but economically. Okay, this whole country, in my opinion, just runs on debt. Everyone has a nice new car, shiny new this, shiny new that, but everyone's up to their eyeballs in payments, okay? Again, most Americans only process things in monthly payment. Can I fit it in my monthly budget? How about not having any debt? How about that? Sure, consider that. But the problem is that once you create these 50-year mortgages, what do you think the price, not the value, the price is what you pay, value is what you get. What do you think the price is going to happen to these houses? they're only going to go up, right? Because more people can squeeze that $292 into their budget, right? Which frees up their budget by almost $300 a month. So anyway, my point is the demand still going to be there? Is the supply going to be there? Those are also huge factors when it comes to real estate. And then, a lot of people, they're starting to get priced out of just regular suburbs. Regular suburbs where one person worked at a Ford factory making, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 100 grand a year. They could support a whole family. Now, that's not really possible, in my opinion. So I don't know. Am I telling you to go buy land in the forest and go start your own homestead and live off the land? No. But at the same time, I feel like this country is becoming very expensive for just regular everyday folks. So now that was a little bit serious, let me get into some memes to lighten the mood. So not this one. The rest of them will be funny, but this is just another way to look at it. So the 50-year mortgage is actually brilliant if your IQ is over 120. Everyone else is screaming about debt slavery while the rest of us are running numbers like, wow, I get to pay less per month and the dollar collapses faster than I can. Congrats, you just turned your house into a leveraged short on the United States government. Millennials finally get a win and is betting against America's ability to do math. So what Adam is saying is basically, if you've never visited or read about countries that have gone through inflation, and when I say inflation, I'm not talking like, oh, my eggs went from $3 to $6. I'm talking like you're going to the store with stacks of cash, okay? Like $1 million bills, like literally. Like you're buying bread with this, okay? So anyway, my parents are from former Yugoslavia. My dad's Serbian. My mom's from Montenegro. Dude, I held billion dinar bills. Okay, they went through hyperinflation. So what Adam is saying, if Lebanon, Turkey, whatever, any of these countries, Weimar Republic, whatever. What Adam is saying is that, say you lock in a 50-year loan, okay? Again, by the end of those 50 years, the way fiat currency works is that it's going to keep inflating, okay? Again, a Honda Accord is literally going to be $100,000 50 years from now, if not more. So what he's saying is that you lock in the principal today, the loan amount today, and you pay it back with inflated dollars over time, okay? That's his whole point. But again, you need to be in a steady job. Your income has to be, raised with the rate of inflation at least. You have to maintain your purchasing power. All these things you have to be healthy. All these things have to make a perfect storm for this to actually work. This one is funny. This guy goes, well, this mortgage has been in our family for generations. Not this car, not this gun, not this whatever. This mortgage has been in our family for generations. This guy goes, using my $2,000 stimulus check, which I'll probably make a video on this week, for the down payment on a 50-year mortgage. Stay mad, haters. This guy goes, he's owned this place for 49 years. This quote tweet goes, only 1 year left on his mortgage. Is this old dude right here with his grandkid probably. This guy goes, 400-year mortgages. This was a good one. If you guys are Lord of the Rings fans, I was there, Gandalf. I was there 3,000 years ago. I was there when I took out the current mortgage on Rivendell. And then finally, shout out to my buddy Andrew. He goes, 50-year mortgages, a cutting-edge strategy to the housing crisis. You only pay $500,000 more in interest, but it's $600 less each month. All right, guys, all seriousness, is this late-stage empire vibes? Are we kicking the debt can down the road? Are we going to be Japan, dude? Is the S&P 500 going to be flat for 30 years? What's going on here? Can anybody afford a house, or is it truly going to be you will own nothing and be happy? I don't know, man. I kind of feel bad for Gen Z, and I feel bad for my kids. But I have other options around the world. If you don't, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. Not to be sensationalist, but I think a lot of people really need to start looking at other parts of the country. Don't come to the Great Lakes. Cleveland is terrible. Detroit is terrible. Pittsburgh's terrible. No normal childhoods, no Four Seasons, no value, no nothing. Stay away from no fresh water, no beaches, no nothing. Stay away from Michigan. Stay away from Cleveland, Pittsburgh. I would stick to like the Arizonas, the deserts. I'm just kidding. My point is that I think a lot of people need to start rethinking where they find value in living. And I think a lot of people are going to start to be priced out of places that have been historically more desirable. So thank you so much for watching. I know this is a little bit long-winded, but I think it's a very important subject because the whole propaganda campaign for this whole country has been, the American dream, buying a house. Well, yeah, dude, I literally pay 10 grand a year in property taxes, okay? I live in a regular suburb. It's crazy. So I don't know. I think we're just perpetually renting from either the municipality or from the bank. And that's what this video is trying to tell you. All right. See you guys. Peace. Oh, and as always, have a prosperous day. Dude, 50 years from now, here, Charlie, here's your allowance. Oh, you wash the dishes? Here's $3 grand. Oh, you cut the grass? Here's 10 grand. Good job, buddy.